Welcome back. In this video, we will see what are the tips and tricks which are commonly used in Excel. The first tip is, in case if you see the column width is not properly adjusted, there are two options using which you can adjust the column. When you put your cursor in between the column, you will see the plus, and if you click on the plus, the column will be automatically adjusted. In case if the column width is more like this, you can manually adjust the column width. You can select multiple columns like this and you can adjust the column width. I will enter 12 to adjust the column width. I will adjust with the 12. So the column width is adjusted manually. Similarly, for the row also, you can use row height to adjust the rows. If these rows, row 2 and 3, is not properly visible, because the row 2 and 3 is not properly visible and you wanted to adjust the row height, you can select the rows which you wanted to adjust, right click and select row height and enter 18. You can also see what is the height of the row so that you can set the same height for other rows. So this is set to 15, and I will also set these two rows for 15. If you wanted to make all the rows consistent, click on this area and right click anywhere in the row and click row height. You can specify the row height as 18 so that the row height has been changed to 18. There are 4 navigation keys in Excel, which is up arrow key, down arrow key, right arrow key and left arrow key. If I place the cursor in any of the cell, now I have placed the cursor in C4. This will be called as active cell. If I place the cursor here in A2, this is now active cell. Using the right arrow key, I can move right side from one cell to another cell in the column. And using the left arrow key, I can go back to the previous cells. If I use the down arrow key, I can move between the rows. If I use the up arrow key, I can move upwards. I can move upwards within the same column and different rows. So if I wanted to go to the end of the data in a particular row where there is the data, I have to use Control and right arrow key. So I'll be taken to this 600. This is the end of the data. And if I wanted to go to the start of the data in the same row, then I have to use left arrow key. If I place the cursor here and if I wanted to go to the end of the data in this column F, I have to use Control and down arrow key. So it has taken me to the end of the data in column F. If I wanted to go to the start of the data in column F, then I have to use Control and up arrow key. This is the start of the data. If I wanted to select the entire row, I need to use Control Shift and click the mouse cursor anywhere in a particular cell and use the right arrow key to select the entire range of cells in that row. If I wanted to select column, then use the Control Shift and use the down arrow key to select entire range of cells within the column. Or if I wanted to use the keyboard shortcut, then select the cell, then use Control Shift right arrow key. It will take you to the end of the row. Then if you select the down arrow key, it will highlight the entire range of cells in this particular sheet which has the data. If I wanted to copy the header, I will use the shift and right arrow key to highlight and copy, then use Ctrl C to copy, then highlight the cell where I wanted to paste, then use Ctrl V to paste. Similarly, I can use the mouse to highlight the data, then use Ctrl C to copy, then use Ctrl V to paste. If I wanted to highlight a range of cells and use cut and paste, then I have to select the cell at the start, then use shift, then select the cells using the right arrow key, then use the down arrow key to select the range of cells which you wanted to cut, then use Ctrl X and select the cell where you wanted to paste, use Ctrl V to paste. Now the data has been moved to here. If I don't like the cut and paste, I wanted to undo the operation, then use Ctrl Z to undo the operation. Now the data which was here, it has been moved to here using Ctrl Z. If I have to highlight a particular row, I have to use shift and right arrow key to highlight the cells. Once you highlight, I wanted to make it bold, then use Ctrl and B to make it bold. Now the data in the row 9 is bold. If I wanted to make these data in the row number 9 as italic, you need to use Ctrl and I again to make it italic. If you wanted to make a particular row bold, italic and underline, you have to use Ctrl B, U and I. Ctrl B is for bold, Ctrl I for italic and Ctrl U for underline. If I wanted to add the border for this entire range of cells, I need to highlight and select the range of cells and select Alt H and B on your keyboard. It will select the border and you can choose the border. I'll select all borders. This way you will be able to add the border using the shortcut key. If I wanted to color a range of cells, I will select the Control key on the keyboard and select the range of cells. Use the shortcut key Alt, H and H to select the colors. I will select the color and now the color has been added. If I wanted to move the range of cells which I have colored without using any shortcut key on the keyboard, just by using the mouse, I will highlight all these cells and in the edge of the row, I can see the cursor has changed to 4 corners. I will drag. I'll be able to move this. If I wanted to undo again, I have to use Ctrl Z to undo the move and it will undo the operation. If I wanted to just move only one particular row, I can highlight the row and once the mouse cursor has changed, I can simply drag and move like this. Let me undo the operation again using the Ctrl Z. Now the data has come back. So this is the data which we have moved. It has come back to its original position. If I wanted to use the clipboard section to copy and paste, there is a clipboard section here. I will click on this arrow key. I will highlight this and I will copy and I wanted to highlight this again. I will copy. I have to choose copy. So it has copied into the clipboard. And I wanted these data for the east. Okay, let me select these data for the west. I want only the west data. So I'll select copy. So once you have used the clipboard, whatever you have selected, you can only paste those items using paste all. If you notice, whatever you have selected, only those items has been pasted. Instead of copy paste every time, you can use this clipboard option. If I wanted to find minimum from these data, I have to use the function which is called as min. Open the bracket and select the range of cells. This will be the minimum. If I wanted to find max, I have to use the function which is called as max. Then select the range of cells. Close the bracket. Out of these numbers, 76 is the greatest number. So this is how you can find max. If I want to use the average, format, I have to use the function which is called as average. Then select the range of cells, close the bracket. Out of these numbers, 38.8 is the average. So once you have found out min, max and average for units, you wanted to apply the same formula for unit price and also for the sales. You can copy the formula across the cells. If I copy the formula across the adjacent cell, then the minimum will be 20 for the unit price. And if I copy the formula for the max, 300 is the maximum. Average unit price, I get 85. And if I copy the same function to the sales, 140 will be the minimum and 300, if I copy the function from 300, I will get the maximum sales as 2280. If I copy the function from average, so for these data, this will be the average. If I wanted to add serial number for this data, I will use serial number. Then I will fill the numbers in series. If you notice, the cursor will change to the plus symbol and you will be able to drag and fill series. Now the numbers are filled in series. When you get an Excel sheet and if there are some formulas which has been applied in the Excel sheet and you wanted to know where exactly the formula has been applied, you cannot go and searching on each of the cell to find out where the formula has been applied. In this particular case, we have applied the formula in N and 11. So if I select the range of the cells and click on Find and select, go to Special, select the formulas, you disable logical and errors and select only these two. You need to go to Ohm and then Find and select and click on Go to Special, then select Formulas. You select these two options. You will see wherever the cells are using the formula, it will be highlighted. If I click OK, the cells which contains the formula, it gets highlighted. So these are the cells which are highlighted, which has the formula. I will give the colors, and if you check, there is the formula which has been applied. Whenever you select a range of cells in the Excel and use the Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V to copy to another sheet, by default, it will also copy the formula. If I don't want these formula to be copied, what I have to do is, I have to copy and then use the paste option, then use only values. If I use values, it will not copy the formula. If I wanted to find a representative name and replace with another name, let us take example of Sorvino. I wanted to replace Sorvino. I will select the range of the cells, Ctrl and F. Find what? I will enter Sorvino and replace with John. I will replace with John and I will replace all. It has made 4 replacement. So now wherever we add Sorvino, Sorvino has been replaced with John. If I have a large data set like this and if I wanted to find out the total sum, I have to simply highlight all the cells to find out the sum, and in the bottom you will be able to see the total sum here. If you select the entire range of cells for which you wanted to find out the count and the sum, you can also do that by highlighting. So you will be able to see the count is 129 and also you will get the sum as 107776. This is one way of calculating the sum. If I wanted to find out the total sum, I can use Alt and equal. It will give the total sum. Alt and equal. Enter. Again, you can use Alt equal. Alt equal to get the total result, total sum. In this given data, if I wanted to find a particular item, how many times it has been repeated. For example, in this column D, if I wanted to find how many times this pen item has been repeated, I can use the formula COUNTIF and I need to select this entire range. After selecting the range, then I need to use the criteria for the selection. Open the double quote and I have to mention pen in double quotes because this is the string which I wanted to find out, so I have to use in double quotes. So this is the formula which I use to find out how many times the pen has been repeated in the column D for item. If I enter, so 5 times the pen has been repeated. If I wanted to apply the same formula for representative, COUNTIF, open the bracket and select the range In this range, I need to enter the criteria. Criteria is in double quotes. I have to find Jones. I need to find Jones and close the bracket. So 8 times Jones has been repeated in representative header. Any of the rows within this range of cells. And also I need to insert the rows in such a way that the rows will be added every alternate rows. I need to select the rows in sequence, and in between these selection a new row will be added. Right click and insert. So there is a new row which has been added. For every alternate rows where we add the data. If you wanted to add a new row above 49, then you can right click and click insert to add a new row. If you are the person who will be working regularly by using the filter option like this, and if you wanted to use the filter in the quick access toolbar, you can right click this filter option and click on add to quick access toolbar. You can see this filter option is added to the quick access toolbar. So I can click here and click on the quick access toolbar instead of going to data. And if you wanted to remove from the quick access toolbar, I can select remove from the quick access toolbar. If I wanted to find out the units which are only related to West, I have to use the sum formula with the condition. So I'll enter West and I will use the function sum if, then open the bracket. I have to select the range. I will select the range from where the West has to be looked into, and comma, and the criteria is West. From the column B, it has to look for West, and comma again, and what it has to do the total for. It has to do the total for units in West region, and close the bracket. So we have total 231 in the West. Similar way, if I wanted to find out how many units has been sold by a representative, if I take example of Howard, then I have to use the function equals sum if, then open the bracket, then select the range from where Howard has to be looked into, comma, and the criteria is this, comma, and range of units sold. Close the bracket. For Howard, there are 125 units which has been sold by Howard. Whenever you have a range of cells and you have the header, you will filter the header and select, for example, region. And if you wanted to find out for the region how many sales has been happened, it will show the total, but this total is not right. Whenever you filter, it is going to show the entire total. If you see, the total is same even if you filter or if you don't filter. If I filter for the representative and I wanted to see what is the sales which has been done by Jones, then it is not reflecting the proper total for the Jones. In order to use the total, whenever I use the filter for a particular representative or region, then I have to use subtotal. I have to use the subtotal. Let me format. I have to use the function for subtotal equals sub and highlight and enter the tab so that it will automatically populate. Because I am using the sum, I have to choose 9 and comma. Then I have to select the range. So if I choose the header and apply the filter, if I select John's, it has to give me the correct total for John's, whatever units has been sold. So 396 is the unit which has been sold by John's, and I can even copy the function to the other cells. The unit price is 440 and whatever the sales which has been done by John's is 19,350. If I remove the filter and if I only apply the filter for the West, I need to get the total for the West. 231 is the unit for West and 420 is the unit price at which the units has been sold, and total sales of 6,660. If you are wondering how to use the shortcut keys for the menu bar, you have to simply select Alt on your keyboard. If you select Alt on your keyboard, the shortcut keys are highlighted. For Home, you need to use Alt H. For Insert, you need to use Alt N. For Draw, you need to use J1. And for the page layout, Alt and P1. Formulas, Alt and M likewise. If I am using Alt H, again it will give me the option under Home. What are the shortcut keys I need to select? If I wanted to use bold, I have to press 1 on my keyboard. It will select the bold. If I press Alt H again, then it will select the Home, and pressing 1 on my keyboard again, it will deselect the B. So if you notice, this has been deselected. So once again, Alt H for Home, and you notice B has been selected. Use the 1 on your keyboard again to deselect. Alt H and 1 on your keyboard to deselect. Again Alt and H. If I wanted to use underline, then I have to press the 3. So underline option I will get. If I go to the previous menu, then Alt J1 for drawing. Alt and J1. Likewise, you can use the Alt key and select whatever the shortcut keys which are available. If you have a range of cells and if you see something like this, like some of the texts are bold and some are colored and some are not properly formatted. So in case if you wanted to format the range of cells, you can select the cell and click on Format Painter. You wanted to apply the same kind of format which is in the circled cell, and I will apply the same format for the text. For the number, I have to apply the format. I have done Ctrl Z to undo the text and use the Format Painter to apply the same format for the numbers. It will not work properly. So this is how it will look. So because of that, whenever you select text and select format painter, you need to use only for the text, and for the numbers you need to select the cell which has the number, then click on format painter and select for the numbers. And this is the accounting format. You have to select the same format and use it for the accounting format. This is also similar. You can use it for these cells as well, for the sales. If you wanted to zoom in and zoom out the Excel sheet which you are working, you can press the Control key on your keyboard and use the mouse to scroll forward and backward to zoom in and zoom out. So you can see you'll be able to zoom in and zoom out. It's Control and the mouse roller you need to use to zoom in and zoom out. If you are working on a sheet and if you are wondering where exactly the formulas are applied, you can use formula and you can click on the show formula. This will show the formula where exactly the formulas are applied in the Excel sheet. Now you will be able to see where the formulas are applied. So in the column G, the formulas are applied, and also here the formula is applied, and here you can see the formulas are applied. The entire G column has the formulas. Click the show formula again to not to show the formula.